record. Life is good. Alright, let's try this again. Hey there, my name is Noah Cruz, and I am a creative writer. I have written hundreds of ideas for TV shows, movies, short films, books, novellas, short stories, poems, and anything else you can name. When I was very young, I wrote a parody book about a penguin who fights karate, and I fell in love with the art of words and turned them into my imagination playground. My passion for movies also grew when I was young, with big influences like Sky High, Back to the Future, and National Treasure. I loved movies, and all I wanted to do was write a good one that would put me on the map, but procrastination has stopped me from even finishing a short story. I either have the passion, but I don't know how to put it to words, or I've lost the passion for whatever idea I have and quit. But for the past few months, with all my ideas written down and never started, I wanted to put them out there in the world and share them with someone, something, an entity. I couldn't bear to keep them inside my head and never watch them be made, or simply never put out, but put it out there at all for someone to find and make something crazy about it. Sorry, my script's over here. I'm just here we go. To clarify, if no one ever finds these videos, I can still say that I put it out there and have this weight lifted off my shoulders. But whatever happens, like a big movie screenplay writer comes across this page and you liked one of my ideas, feel free to take it from me, or please contact me, and we can work something out. I believe I'll be leaving my email in the description, work email, so please don't spam me. But before I give any idea, I will say that if I want to be involved in some way, I will say it. But most of these ideas you can just steal and run with it, you know? Now that the legal stuff's out of the way, let's start off my first ever podcast. Welcome to Just an Idea, where I talk about having an idea and wondering if it would be good or bad. Simple. The comments are open to tell me if you think it's a good idea or not. It's up to you. You can even strengthen the ideas by adding like your own opinions and stuff, which would be really cool, but I don't know if anyone's ever gonna watch these, so it's just something I have to get out, or it's gonna beat me to life, essentially. So most to all of everything I will say will be of an adult, so viewer discretion is advised, as in mature audiences only. I will restrict these podcasts to explicit, because I will curse. That is a fact. Also, some of these stories have trigger warnings. I will put before an idea, I will say trigger warning and for what, so you can just skip to the next idea if you have a problem with it. But like I said, these are just like ideas that I have, and I write them all down. This journal is specifically for short films, and I'd like to share the first 7 short films in order that I've written them down. I didn't want to change the order or anything like that, because I wanted to keep it as natural as possible. So the first is called You Tell Me, and the movie inspiration, most of these do have movie inspirations because I've been watching so many movies my entire life, at least 1,000. So if I got the idea from a movie, then I would just say it. So for example, You Tell Me, the movie inspiration is Paycheck, starring Ben Affleck. That movie was nuts. And I will read straight from the journal what I wrote. I will change things around if it makes no sense. Sounds good to me. A conversation with yourself, but from the future. Area 51 found a tech to view only past events. Their next step was communication to help better the future. Once problems were solved worldwide, they had no use for the device, so they made it for public use, essentially public use. The story of this short film is about a man named Thomas Anderson, you can change the name, it doesn't matter, who wants to talk to himself 10 years into the future to see how his life has changed. So in my practice of this, I had to really explain that, because I don't think people will understand that part. You see into the past, right? This is one of my bad mistakes I've made with writing these. This is the first short film that I wrote, so for this one, it's for you, so I don't give a shit. You can do whatever you want with it, but the story behind it, like the continuity errors that would have in it, is that you can only see into the past. With Paycheck, you could see into the future, and I was like, that's kind of cool, but I don't want to fuck with time and everything like that, so you might as well just see into the past. The problem with that is that the technology still exists in the future, right? Because it's been created in the past. So what would happen is that you yourself in the past would say, hey, I want to set up a time with myself 10 years into the future, and then the company itself will locate that person and essentially make you sit down with someone from the future. So they're looking into the past while you're looking into the future, but it's a future to past feed, like a time feed, but not past to future feed. I don't know. I fucked up this one. We're moving. So they just start catching up, and while keeping it vague to not spoil the future for himself, he doesn't want to ruin his life, you know. But it'll start tame, but will lead into some secret codes that they made when they were younger, like showing up signs and stuff of like codes that they made when they were younger. It's kind of freaky. And then it ends with that person finding out that an unnamed country, who I will not name, it would be too realistic if I named a country, hijack time feeds to secretly make them take over the world easier in the future. It's weird. That's where I messed up. Because if they're seeing into the past, I think the way it would work personally is that they would hack the time feeds that they were having, like conversations and stuff, and communicate a bridge within the past and the future. I don't know. It's just an idea. I don't think that one will work out. That's for you. If you can figure that shit out, go for it. But don't steal from Paycheck. It is a real thing. Like time viewing. Like you can't time travel, but time viewing is a thing. Somehow, in some way, science. I don't know. But that's just an idea. I thought it was cool. That doesn't mean it's good. The second is called Thoughts of a Serial Killer. In the movie Inspiration is Dahmer. There is a trigger warning for this one for murder. Kind of makes sense, right? So this short film is about a life of a future serial killer who goes through his normal life thinking about being a serial killer but never becoming one. He thinks about killing certain people and how like he would like look at a person on the street and be like shot through the head with a crossbow, something like that. Like he would think about it, but never would act on it because he knows that it's wrong, but nonetheless fantasizes. So it's like having a sexual desire for something but never actually acting on it because you're too scared in a sense, but you're never gonna try it anyway, you know? One of those kind of things. He just enjoys it, I guess. This is something that he'll do, you know? He fantasizes, looks around, sees all these people, and he's like, how will I murder this person? How will I do it? How long would it take? He does stuff like that. And since these are all short films, short film ideas, you can play it out like it's just like a narrator speaking, you know? So he looks at someone, he's like, crossbow to the head, knife to the neck, stabbed in the leg, I don't know, something like that. And then we cut back to like him just doing his normal life, like driving to work and stuff like that. But in his mind, he's like, nah, I'd never do that, of course. That's kind of crazy, right? But then one day he gets a phone call from a friend that simply says, nocturnal fisherman. You can change that however you like. Agent 172, you've been activated, Danny Wilkinson. He then hangs up the phone, picks up a knife, and walks over to his wife. The only thing he ever says out loud is, Danny Wilkinson, I love you. And then the screen cuts to black, and then the next shot is him in a new town with new thoughts of killing strangers and going on with life. I just think that's really cool because it's like, hey, this guy thinks he could kill these people but never acts on it. And he's secretly an agent who lives life killing people and then forgetting about it. I think that's a really cool idea, but hey, it's just an idea. That's free use, by the way. This next one's free use as well. I believe only 2 of these are not free use. Like, you gotta hit me up with some of these, but out of the 7, 5 of them are free use. These are free use. This one's called Computer Dating. It's also free use, or Computer Love, however you want to interpret it. And the movie inspiration is Her with Joaquin Phoenix, and it's mixed a little bit with Black Mirror because this could happen. Now, in the practice of reading this, there were words I could not interpret because my writing is so fucking bad. So when I get to the ending, stick with me on this one because it's gonna be a lovely time explaining the ending because it's weird as shit, right? This short film will focus on someone who is already in love with some fake computer AI who has also fallen in love with him too. It'll show them talking and laughing, having a good time, and them talking about getting the VR set, like a headset, like an Oculus. Like I have one back there. I'm not gonna grab it, but like the Oculus or the Vive or something like that, the HT, whatever it's called, where you can see the AI you have fallen in love with and go on virtual dates. This is like a world building kind of thing. All my stories can be world building, but this one's like you're in a world where VR is a real thing. You know, you can go on virtual dates with strangers, right? Who are completely made up. And it got so bad that they had to shut down like bars and stuff like that, like restaurants, because no one was going out anymore. It's like a weird tidbit of like world building, I guess. I kind of liked it though, but I just threw that in there. Like if I took that line out where it says people are doing it so often that bars are shutting down as well as businesses are going out of business because no one's dating in the real world, I could literally take that line out, but I think that's a really cool line and I'm not going to take it out. He finally gets the headset and is instantly in love on how she looks. But when he has to go to work, because he actually has to go to work, can't take the VR set off. He can't. It ain't coming off. It's lodged in his head. Instead, it knocks him out and downloads his consciousness into the VR set. So he's living his consciousness is in the VR set now, and it's forcing him inside to live inside the VR set. This is where I get confused because there's a lot of words here that make no sense. I would like to say I wrote that his body is now being controlled by aliens through mind control. Like they're pretty much using the VR set and is like connected and using it as a vessel for them to build power and take over the world. When they have enough people in the VR headsets, they just pretty much have all control of the world while everyone lives in a VR world. Personally, doesn't sound that bad. I think I have a mix of the Matrix in there, but I've only seen the first one and the fourth one. The fourth one is Resurrections, but the first one was pretty good. But anyway, I think that's like a weird inspiration. Like you can just robots, aliens taking over slowly, you know, through the obsession of social media, which could happen, but not with aliens, but with real people. So I always thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, the fourth story is called Afraid of the Outside, and I thought of this one through like a mix of movies that I've started to see is involving like Paranoia from the General Outdoors. This is a trigger warning for kidnapping, by the way. This is free use as well. This short film will be about someone being scared of going outside, filmed like found footage of someone documenting their last day on Earth, not realizing it's their last day on Earth. Essentially, you can have this one where it goes like day blank, day 100 something. This is like he's been inside for like 8 months, so I don't know how many days that is. You can say like day blah blah blah, and it's essentially his last day, not knowing it is. But it's in found footage, so I think it's pretty cool. So like with an iPhone or something, you know, just a normal iPhone recording his normal life, like him getting up, brushing his teeth, taking a shower, making food. I can make this one myself, but I am lazy and I procrastinate. Chocolate, sorry, if you've ever seen that, it's classic. Anyway, it's like a vlog, but they go through his days showing what he does and how he makes a living. I don't say this specifically in the story, but I thought it would be cool that the way he makes a living is that he mines for Bitcoin, but not in the way that you think it is. He'll actually take Bitcoin from companies that are mining them themselves. And there's like a conspiracy that the company that he's stealing from is actually stealing from other people's Bitcoin accounts, little by little, not knowing they're taking it because it's such a small percentage of the Bitcoin, and not like a full Bitcoin, like 0.000007 of a Bitcoin, but they keep stealing it because so many people have it that, you know, they make a lot of money from it. And then, but he's stealing from that company, and they're starting to notice that they're starting to lose Bitcoin and they don't know why. I thought that was a really cool idea. I don't know how it would work, but I thought it'd be cool. But you just see him like mining Bitcoin essentially, but he's stealing from that company. Near the end of the video, you can tell they're uneasy and start making heinous accusations about a big corporate company who's stealing Bitcoin from people, and that's why he's stealing Bitcoin from the company. He's not giving it back, so it's like a bad and good thing, you know? Claiming to know where they are, so he's terrified, trying to kidnap them, so they haven't left the house in 8 months. So essentially they won't leave because he's terrified that he might get kidnapped or something. And the video ends with him like setting the camera down after hearing a knock on the door, just setting it to the side, and then him, like, you can see him opening the door, and then he goes, yeah, and then 2 pairs of hands grab him, and then he's just gone. And the camera just keeps filming for like a minute, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then a thing that comes up, it says, ran out of storage on your phone or something like that, and that's the end of the video. Like, trigger warning because kidnapping, because that would terrify the shit out of me if I opened the door and 2 pairs of hands just grab me, and then you just hear distant screams while it's just recording still. Like, that is, I'm staring at the camera now, that is terrifying, just like what I just did with my close-up. Sorry, I'm looking at myself, so it's like I'm looking to the side. I've never done this before. This is my first time. This is fun. But yeah, that would be terrifying for me personally. Wouldn't do it. I could do it. I could literally film it, grab a couple friends and be like, just grab me, and I'll start screaming, and then we'll get a call from the police, and I have to tell the apartment complex where I'm living, is like, I just filmed a YouTube video, it's don't calm down. But if I start, I have to continue if it does good, and I can't do that because I don't got the time. I mean, I have the time now. I don't have a job and I'm poor as fuck, but when I do have a job again, you know. Anyway, next one is not for use. I want to make this one day and or have someone else make it, and then I just write everything for it. This is not for use. If you want to use the 5th story that I'm about to say, please contact me. We'll figure something out. Anyway, this one's called Forgotten Memories, and it's literally my favorite one. This is not personal for use. I will tell you now. And the inspiration is The Fourth Kind. If you've ever seen it, that movie's freaking weird. I think Dark Skies was scarier than The Fourth Kind. Just saying something, but that's a good movie. I think it's on Netflix right now if you want to watch it. I don't know, it's up to you. The trigger warning as well for kidnapping. Just leave it at that. Okay, this is a fun one. This short film follows a girl who smokes weed. Not having a care in the world, she just smokes and enjoys life. Where could this go? One day, her dealer offers her weed that unlocks past memories that were forgotten. Essentially, you smoke the weed, you unlock memories that you completely forgot about, which is cool to me, actually. She declines, but he insists that it's free and she should try it. so she just gets some so he can get off her back, essentially. So she smokes it. Instead of having like a really nice trip, she gets flashes of her smiling with a gentleman that she doesn't remember, and is not and is clearly having a good time. His face is distorted and can't figure out who it is. She goes back to her dealer and asks for more, of course, addiction. Not saying weed's bad, I support legalization of the weed, but I don't smoke it, just saying. I won't go into that tangent, but essentially she's like, give me more, I need to know who this person is, you did not give me enough. He's like, sure, it costs money this time, pay me money, and it's really fucking expensive. So she takes all of her money out of her savings. That's a lot of money. I'm not gonna say how much it is, but it's a lot of money. She takes all her money out of her savings and gives it to this man so she can remember having a good time with someone, because she doesn't remember what it was like to have a good time with another person. It's a little scary, a little kind of depressing. She gives him all that she had left in her savings, smokes it, and the face clears up, and it happens to be her dealer. The scene paints a picture of them about to have sex, doesn't go there, but bright lights shine through the window, showing people outside and breaking in. Then the video flashes images of her being abducted by aliens. She wakes up from her high with her dealer standing all over her, and all the dealer says is, have a nice trip. Screen goes black as the girl screams in the background. I love that short film. I wrote it from inspiration from The Fourth Kind, yes, but my female friend, smokes the weed, and I was just like, if I ever make this, you have to be the female who then smokes the weed. Because I looked at her and I was like, this is the short story. I literally looked at her and I was like, this is the short story I gotta write. Anyway, the sixth one, it's just an idea. The sixth one is called Getting Fat, and the inspo is from the movie Matilda. And I need to let you know something about Matilda, okay? As a kid, I fucking love that movie. I watched it like 2, 3, 4 times a month. I was just like, this movie slaps. I mean, I had it on DVD. My mom was like, why the fuck do you keep watching this shit? Like, why? And I was like, Mom, it's a dope ass movie. Matilda was cute. I was 6, okay? Relax. It's just like, this is where it's at. And then I skipped the scene where a doll haunts the principal. Anyway, as an adult, I rewatched the movie. The movie is a horror film. A fucking horror film. If you watch that shit as an adult, you're like, this is a kid's, like, it should not be a kid's movie. Listen to me. What kid's movie now that's in real life has a grown woman pick up a girl by her pigtails and throws her into a tree? I'm looking to the camera. What movie does? There is a scene where a girl is put into one of those medieval cradles with nails sticking into the thing. Like, why? Why? It's not a kid's movie. I don't know who said this would be a kid's movie. It's not. It's absolutely. I'm gonna go off, man. But the scene that it's inspired the short film Getting Fat is when the boy has to eat an entire cake. I'm pretty sure it was like 12, 20, 30 pounds. And I'm gonna let you know now, that's also a horror scene. I don't care if you're cheering him on or anything. He's fat and he will die. He will die from eating that much cake. And the principal was like, fucking eat it. And he was just like, and he's like, fucking eat it. And the kid's like, okay, I love cake, I'll do it. Eats it. Kids start cheering him on. Pretty sure this kid fucking died. Like, there's no way. I don't see him in the rest of the movie. He fucking died. Like, I can go on about that shit, but we're gonna move on to my short film. Anyway, I can go on about movies. I'll make another video about talking about movies that changed my viewing or something in the future when I was an adult. But that movie ain't it. Like, Anyway, it's called Getting Fat. Free use. Yeah, this one would be free use. This short film is about a man who is tired of life and doesn't want to live anymore. The only thing that brings him joy is eating. So, on one faithful afternoon, he buys all the foods he likes from the store and at his favorite restaurants. While spending all the money he had left, he sits down at home, looks at all the food, says a prayer to anyone who is out there, because he doesn't know who's out there, and he doesn't know where he's going after he dies. As he eats more and more food, you can see him visibly get fatter. I like the visuals for this, okay? I wrote this specifically for the visuals of the short film. Just imagine a man eating. And I know I had hibachi one time and my stomach literally grew, but no, like everything on its body starts growing. So this can be like really weird, what's that chick, like Aunt Dursley or whatever from Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban? I'm pretty sure it's Prisoner of Azkaban, where that woman's just like getting fatter and fatter. It's like that. It's like that. Eats more food. You can see him getting fatter with every bite until he's down to his very last bite. Now, I want to clarify that most of my short films can be male and female, switched, like non-binary, whatever. You can switch out any genders, but the fifth story has to be female and this story has to be male, because I know females will find this extremely offensive if it was them, because females care more about their body image than men. So I realized, like, realistically, this should probably be played by a male. And if that's insensitive to you, I'm gonna let you know now. This is my first episode. I do not care about getting canceled. I'm still gonna release them. But tell me I'm wrong. Anyway, he's down to his very last bite. He eats it and nothing happens. He's upset and says, well, fuck. And as he says the word fuck, because it's YouTube or whatever you want to release it to, you can't, can't use curse words. Gets cut off by him exploding into all of the food that he consumes. So you won't see any guts or anything like that, because again, it's YouTube and you don't want that on YouTube because they won't allow it. But just like a bunch of food just going everywhere essentially, which is kind of cool visual as well. And then everything calms down, and then you hear crying and you're like, oh shit, who's crying? The camera pans down and zooms in on a naked body, or a naked baby. And then the title card pops up saying getting fat. He literally reincarnated into a baby after exploding. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty cool visual. Alright. But it's just an idea. I gotta remember to keep saying that. I have to make it like super annoying for myself to keep saying it's just an idea at the end of these. I'm just gonna forget. Alright, last story. It's absolutely bananas. It's the craziest fucking story ever. Now I'm gonna read it, and then I'm gonna explain more into detail, because this is a very crazy story building story. Like you can build an entire world about this, and I want you to know now, there is no trigger warning for this one, I don't think. I mean, trigger warning for witchcraft, I don't know, something like that, but other than that, nothing else is pretty bad about the story. But what I wrote down, I feel like I don't give enough information, because when I did my practice of this, I was just like, I need to expand more on this, and I recorded it, and I did, and it is way better with an explanation. But I'll read the short story. It's called Where Do Babies Come From? Where do they come from? Okay. Movie inspirations: Vivarium. The first 2 minutes of Vivarium. That's it. By the way, if you ever watch that movie, watch the first 2 minutes and you watch the entire movie and you're done. So the first 2 minutes of Vivarium. Anyway, in this short film, a young child is curious on where babies come from. They first ask their dad. He says they come from fish evolving over millions of years into humans. Not satisfied, then asked their mom. She says they come from storks delivering to them when they ask for one. The kid ain't satisfied, asks them both at the same time. Then they decide to tell them, I have to do this, the truth. And it's from The Birds and the Bees, and we all know what that is. Sex. Sorry, I had to do that. It was really inappropriate. I'm very sorry for that. I forgive myself. The child is now horrified, but is satisfied and heads to bed. It cuts black, and a card says where he really came from. Ooh. And it shows his parents doing a ritual. I put on here at a cemetery, but I want to point out that it would be in his backyard. I'll explain in a second. Lightning strikes upon them, and a baby, this is what I wrote down, but I'm going to explain it more later. A baby levitates out of the ground from a pumpkin. A pumpkin turns into a baby, and the video ends after transformation. Now, I hate that ending, so I'm going to explain it a little bit more. I'll wrap it up pretty quickly because I don't want to talk for too long, even though I've been talking for like 30 minutes. I hate that ending, honest to God. When I first wrote it, it was nothing like that, and it was way worse. And that ending is garbage. So I'm gonna change the ending. This is how it actually ends, and this is where the world building comes in, like the story building and everything. Ready? A pumpkin, lightning strikes the ground, and a pumpkin comes out of the ground, and then the baby pops out of the pumpkin, just like breaks through the pumpkin, right? Now, this is in the backyard of their house, essentially. They're not doing it in a cemetery, that's fucking weird. Instead, it's in the backyard, and this is why. When you are watching everything that happens, like the parents explaining everything and everything, you hear lightning in the background quite frequently, and you're like, why the hell is there lightning? It's not loud, it's pretty mild, like it's happening in the distance, but you can hear lightning everywhere for the entirety of the beginning of the story until it says where babies really come from. And it says where babies really come from, and you see the parents over the ground chanting, and then it pans over, or it cuts to a shot of the neighbors coming out in the backyard and seeing what they're doing. He's like, oh, they're making a baby. Creepy shit, right? Then it cuts back to the parents chanting, lightning strikes, pumpkin comes up, baby pops out, like it just breaks through the pumpkin, right? And then the shot zooms in on the baby crying, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? And then it pans up, and you see into the sky, into the distance, into the city, and there's lightning striking everywhere in the city because everyone's making babies, you know, through the ritual. That's where babies come from. I believe sex does exist in this world or whatever, but not in the intention to make babies. It doesn't make babies like that. You have to perform a ritual and pray to this sky god, I don't know, and a baby gets grown out of the ground from whatever. I believe it should be watermelon for female, I don't know, and a pumpkin for male, again, I don't know, but I thought that was like a really cool idea. I just like that idea. Also, I kept this till the end because if you're still listening, thank you very much. You are the best. There are no ads because I don't be making ads. It's my first podcast. I ain't famous. I believe if you go through Anchor, there's a support button if you'd like to help out. The support button will literally buy my food, and that's about it. Just food. I am a hungry boy all the time. Let's see, I have, wait. Oh, you can see my Quest. Or you can see the controller support. Where is it? Right there. I have Jimmy John's. I got a free sandwich. So I'm poor right now. I don't have a job, so this is why I'm doing podcasts. So anyway, thank you for listening all the way through. But I have one last thing to say. When I have ideas for the things that I write, or I want the reader or the audience watching to be left with the fact that they now have to ponder what the fuck just happened and beg for more. I mean, I think that's like what every writer goes for, but at the same time, that doesn't mean they're good. Like Riverdale, oh, that show needs help. Oh my god, the creator and writer needs to stop. He needs to end that show. People keep watching it. I don't know why. This show is bad. After season 1, it was bad. I'm looking at the camera for this. Riverdale was bad. Whatever the fuck you did with Rivervale, go in your home and cry. I'm not going to say anything really bad, but that show was bad. I don't know why you keep making episodes. People keep watching. That's why. But I feel like I think I watched an interview of the actress knowing that at this point it's an absolute joke, right? And the creator's just like, this is my prized possession. This is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life, is make Riverdale episodes. And you're just like, please stop making Riverdale episodes, please. They're never gonna stop. All right, I'm gonna stop talking about Riverdale. I'm gonna punch a pumpkin or something. I don't know. Anyway, I think, like I said, everyone wants to leave like a really cool cliffhanger, but for me, like my short stories, my books, my novellas, my TV shows, my movies. By the way, all TV shows that I write are 2 seasons long, because if it goes on for too long, it's not worth it. And if it's too short, like 1 season, a limited series, you don't really tell enough, unless it's like the Queen's Gambit Great Vulcan movie, or Great Vulcan TV show. Queen's Gambit's great, but 2 seasons you can really explain everything. That's why if I ever read out my TV show ideas, I've written a couple like actual TV shows, 8 episodes long, 2 seasons. Like I write a lot. If I ever get to the point of reading those, they tell a lot in 2 seasons, and I don't know why people just can't write 2-season shows. They don't have to be too long. I don't understand it. But the end of each season 1 will leave off with a crazy ass cliffhanger. You're just like, what the fuck? I want a season 2. And then season 2 ends. And then season 2 ends with a fucking cliffhanger. And then I will never write a season 3. Ever. If I have a movie, which I have a couple of screenplay movies that I can read out one day. It would take like 2 hours to read. I don't have the space on my phone to record that video unless I get a new camera. Essentially, if I get money from my support button, enough money, I will buy a new camera, essentially, so I can hook it up to my old ass computer and have good quality video. I don't fucking know, but anyway, I'm telling you now, like, when I write my movies, crazy fucking cliffhangers. Like, cliffhangers, you're just like, why? And I have a couple movies that do have sequels, but never more than 2, because 3 is a buzz. It's just like, you're really gonna get an audience out there for the 3rd movie. I understand Harry Potter. Hunger Games, why just split the last movie into 2, or last book into 2? That was a waste of time. By Mockingjay Part 2, no one cared anymore, you know? So if you have one movie and then people like it enough, you'd be like, okay, I'd see the 2nd one, but would you see a 3rd one? Wait, I'm gonna look into the camera. Would you see a 3rd one? Probably not. I saw Halloween Kills. Wasn't that great. Kind of upset by it. Am I gonna see the 3rd one? Yeah, I guess I'll finish it. That's the mindset of people. I'd be like, I've already made it through 1 and 2. I guess I should finish it. That's what happened with Star Wars. I guess I should finish it. No, 2. Always make 2. It's a safe, easy bet. One of my movies has a crazy fucking cliffhanger. I make a sequel. It has a crazy fucking cliffhanger, but I leave it there so you can ponder what the fuck just happened and always beg for more. I don't care how much the movie makes at the box office. At that point, you have to wait 50 years for a fucking sequel, like they did with Ghostbusters. It wasn't 50 years, but like 30 years or something like that. You're not gonna find an answer ever. I want you to ponder on it. I want you to think on the idea of what the fuck I just saw. I want you to build a world with your mind on what you thought happened. That's the whole point. That's why a lot of my ideas are never like fully written, because I feel like it would take the fun out of someone going into their own version of the world that I created, and essentially like building their own characters in their mind. Pretty much fan fiction, but controlled and less sexual. Crazy people. So Will I ever give them more? No. I have it written in here that I would save the question for another time, but this is my first ever podcast. And if anyone asks me in the future, if I become rich and famous, why I don't write sequels, I'll be like, watch my first podcast, get to like minutes 34, 35, and watch it. And you will never, ever get a sequel out of me unless I write it. You'll never get I guess you never get a third sequel. There's a lot of short stories that have crazy cliffhangers, and I never finish them on purpose because I want you to ponder what the fuck just happened, you know? And yeah, I don't think I'll ever write sequels to my cliffhangers because it takes the joy, it takes the fun out of it. Like the end of Inception, when you see the top spin and you see a little movement, you know, the director himself said, interpret it in the way you want it to. That's what I do with all of my ideas. Interpret it in the way you want to. Go for it. It's not up to me, it's up to you. I love stories like that. I mean, it kind of sucks, it feels cheap, but honestly, it's better than making the third or making the second part and it being dog shit because you didn't like the way it went for you, you know? And you did it for yourself and you liked the way it went for you. So, anyway, I could rant on forever about movies, TV shows, novels, books, novellas, poems, short stories. For literally ever. I kid you not. My fiance would probably listen to like 3 hours of me talking about my book universe that I created, which we will talk about next week. We will get through half of it, and then the other half will be the third episode because it's so big. I could talk about it for literal hours, but I don't want to do that to you guys. If anyone listens to it, I don't want to do that to you guys. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thank you for finding this video and listening to it, or watching it, listening if you're on Spotify or Anchor FM. I believe there's a support button on my Anchor FM. I don't know how to do it anywhere else. Thanks for listening, watching. I greatly appreciate you for taking your time out of the day to spend some time with me. Anyway, I had water the entire time here. Stay hydrated. Keep drinking the aguas. Soda bad. Don't drink soda. I can't tell you what to do and not to do, honestly. But do whatever the fuck you want. It's up to you. But drink something. Remember, it's gonna get really cheesy really soon. So I'm gonna keep doing it until it's just super cheesy. It's just for me. Remember, it's just an idea.